We are back. After months of silence, I am back here on YouTube and I wanted to give you an update because quite a few things happened in my life, and I feel many of those will be relevant to you if you too are a founder of a business and are looking to expand, not just by working harder, by grinding more, by adding more to your plate, but to actually operate from a place of alignment. What I'm going to be doing differently this time is the next several videos, they will have no fancy edits. It will just be one take of me speaking directly to you, and you're going to get the raw, authentic truth of me, Mario Lanzarotti. And so the last couple months for me were one of the most challenging of my entrepreneurial life. To give you a bit of context, last year in my coaching business was the best year ever. Multi six figures. I was crushing it. I was killing it. And for this year, I set a very, very ambitious goal to 4x my business. And so what did I do? I doubled down on lead generation strategies. I invested in new coaching programs. I hired people. I spent tens of thousands of dollars, feeling super pumped, super excited. And all of a sudden, even though I was doing all of the right things, none of it was working. And at first I thought, well, things just take a little bit of time, which is normal in business. When you implement new strategies, you have to be patient with them. And I was. But for some reason, things were just not landing. And in the many sales conversations that I had, it just wasn't clicking. And it got to the place where I ended up doubting myself. Even though I've coached thousands of people all over the world, I've co-founded an e-commerce startup in New York, sold the business. I've given speeches all over the world, TEDx talk with almost 3 million views. Even though I've done all of that, I ended up doubting myself very strongly. And I even got to the point where I was like, you know what? Maybe I just got lucky last year. Maybe it was, my one shot and somehow it ended up working out. But if I'm really honest, I'm not cut out for this. Those were the kind of thoughts that were ruminating in my mind. And I realized that actually what was happening with me, I was disconnected from my true purpose. Let me give you some context. So when I first started my coaching business before COVID, I went straight into running events. So I was running events in collaboration with brands, with masterminds here in Cape Town, internationally, and I absolutely loved events. And I did well. Out of every event, I would sign 2, 3, sometimes even 4 coaching clients, and things were working and growing quite effortlessly. And I was doubling down on my event strategy, and it was looking really, really promising, with a deal that could have potentially led to 7 figures. But then COVID hit. And as you well know, with COVID came the shutdown of any in-person events. So what did I do? I pivoted. I built an online coaching brand, not having any clue on how to do it. So I tried to figure it out on the go. And, it worked. I ended up moving it to multi 6 figures. It took me a couple of years, but I made it happen. But somehow something didn't quite resonate with me because I found myself spending most of my days right here in front of this computer. Yeah, I still did some events, occasionally here and there online. I was speaking, and, every time I did, I felt so lit up. I absolutely loved it. But for some reason, I forgot about that. And I ended up following what everyone else is doing, what all the other coaches are doing. The Instagram, the Reels, the LinkedIn, the DMs, the cold emails, the ads. I did all of those things. And I thought so because when you look into the online world, when you talk to other people, you get this impression that this is a strategy that just works for everyone. And so I ended up following that path. And unfortunately, I forgot my own principles. The principle that you should not be following anyone else, but you should be only following your own inner deep guided wisdom. Does that matter? Does that mean that you don't listen to what people say? You don't learn from what people do and say? No, of course not. You absolutely learn, right? I'm in coaching groups. I have mentors and consultants that help me, and that's super valuable. But at the end of the day, you have to follow your own wisdom. You have to trust your gut. You have to know, you have to be able to listen to that and see, this is right for me and this is not right for me. That doesn't make it right or wrong for other people. It's just what matters for you. And so over time, I drifted away from what was true for me. And that created a big sense of disconnection for me. And because I was disconnected from my true purpose, which is to show up inside events, offline and online, and to be a teacher of the principles and the methodologies that I provide, I drifted away. And so I ended up following someone else's truth. And that inner disconnection led to an outer misalignment. So what did that mean? I then started doing all the strategies that I thought I should be doing, but they didn't work. But because I didn't make the connection, and when you try to do that on your own, it's really difficult, that I was disconnected on the inside. I was always looking on the outside. And when the outside stopped working, then I reflected back, oh, that must mean that something is wrong with me because I'm doing all of the things that everyone else is doing. So clearly, Mario, after all this time, you're just not cut out for it. So I moved beyond that. And then I was like, okay, now I am reconnected to my purpose again, which is, or more precisely, the vehicle to deliver my purpose. Let's make it clear, right? The vehicle are events. And my purpose is clear in terms of that I am here to shift people's being, right? To shift people on the level of being so their doing becomes natural. And so then I was like, okay, now I know what I got to do, events. And so months went by. I did one event in person here in Cape Town with my wife, and it was great, small group, but the feedback was incredible, and we both felt amazing. But then I was like, I keep saying to myself, okay, now you know what you need to do, but how come you're not doing it consistently? And I was like, even though I know what I need to do, I'm not executing. What's going on? So then I started digging deeper, and I realized that I was trying to enforce something, and there was another part of me that just wasn't on board. So I took time off. I created space, weeks, a lot of weeks, which, I'm coming now out of the other side of that. And I realized how much disappointment I was carrying. Where is this disappointment coming from? Well, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. What happens as an entrepreneur? You make a shit ton of mistakes. You invest in this relationship. You work out a strategic partnership, and then it doesn't go through. Oh, well, okay, moving on, right? Because as an entrepreneur, don't have any time to lose. You just got to keep on going. And so that meant I was putting one disappointment after the next into my little subconscious bag for later. It's like, don't worry about it, right? And it was accumulating. And so as I made time and space for myself and I slowed down, I started to feel that there was a lot of emotional baggage that I'd been carrying around with myself. And I did end up connecting with that. And it was frightening, but it was also beautiful. Frightening because I was like, holy shit, I didn't know how much disappointment and sadness I'm still holding on to. And it was liberating because as I processed all of that, I felt like 20 years of weight just dropped off my shoulders. And you know what happened right after that? I felt so different around the idea of running events. And so immediately after that process, I assigned my VA with a massive outreach process where she is now reaching out to bigger podcasts, to event stages, to both offline and online, to online communities. I'm now planning out the next 6 months of my wife's and my own event. And so the momentum has now picked up again. And I feel super aligned. I feel super connected because now I'm again moving into my zone of genius. I'm connected to my purpose and to the vehicle of my purpose. And I let go of all of the baggage that I had not been processing as an entrepreneur. Think about it. One of the key aspects of being an entrepreneur is your ability to take risk and is your resilience inside that risk taking. Because if you take risk 10 times and 10 times it doesn't go the way that you expected, that's 10 disappointments. And so that messes with your ability to get up again and again and again. At some point, the punches that are coming, they're going to knock you out. So you got to be able to be rested and to process these punches, or else you're still all dizzy and you're trying to get back on your feet while your complete mind is all out of the place. So basically what I'm saying, my conclusion here is I stopped listening to my own inner wisdom, to my own intuitive voices that were saying, Mario, you're meant to be on stages. Mario, you're meant to work with founders on their being, not on their business strategy. There are enough people out there that are already doing that and doing it well. Your specialty is on your zone of genius is on the being. And so I ended up following the advice of other people, the marketing gurus, right? And that essentially made me not look at myself as a unique individual, but as just another part in the machine. And so what does that mean now going forward? Going forward, I will be recording these videos unscripted, authentic, me, right? Because I'm so tired of this bullshit of, what's the right angle? What's the right word? What's the perfect phrase? What's the right cut? It's good, okay? This stuff can work. But for me, I'm just exhausted. I'm tired of it. I just want you to give you the authentic truth of myself. And if you like what you see, awesome, right? Then I invite you to keep consuming this content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Leave me a comment, a meaningful comment, right? Let me know, like, is this something that you resonate? Is it something that you can relate to? Do you have any questions about this? And if you don't like what you see, that's also fine. I'm not here to win you over. Then, just move along. But I hope that you take this as an invitation for yourself to decide what's true for me, what's no longer in alignment, where am I disconnected from myself, from my purpose, from my vision, from the people in my life, and how is that showing up in my business? How is that showing up in my relationships? How is that showing up in my health? Because if you start asking those kind of questions, your life will naturally move itself into the best possible path for you. I believe in God. I believe in a higher power that guides us. And clearly, the only way to move us back into alignment, into connection, is to have us be out of alignment and out of connection. Because only then do we wake up and say, oh shit, something is off here. I need to get back into slowing down and listening. Because if I'm not doing that, then I will just keep going until I burn out. So that's it for me. Mario Lanzarotti checking out. I'll see you in the next video.